Here we are with another Friday Night Live, July 15th, 2022. Just got a quick sound check here. Unbelievable, it's working. That's for quite a few weeks in a row. I guess it was a challenge and it's been solved, hopefully. I hope everybody is doing freaking amazing. It's a beautiful summer day, very warm, and nothing like the sun shining. Being outside and feeling those rays, not getting much because of our commitments, but a few minutes just feeling those rays, just beautiful feeling. Beautiful feeling. So be interesting to know what's everybody up to. We're up to 5 gallons of shite. Interesting times we're in, very interesting times. Wait a few minutes to see if anybody's on board. If not, take a break. The one thing that always fascinated me was how we can be so ignorant about health and believing that somebody else can take care of it for us. My goodness gracious, how many years of that ignorance we went through. And some even choose to stay at that when they're presented with some information that can help them take charge of their health. But why would we want to do that? It's work. It's work to get sick too. You got to do that. Go shopping, and you got to eat that heavy duty obstructive food for 3-4 times a day, 5 times a day, 6 times a day. All the work, chewing and eating, preparing. It's a lot of work. But for some reason, we don't see it that way. It's interesting how the emotions play with us and make us justify things, to continue doing things and justify it so we can continue doing it, even though it's self-destruction mode. Slow suicide. We've all been there. We've all taken part of it, knowingly or unknowingly. The whole planet is in that self-suicide state for the most part. Think about what destroying the environment that we live in. It's not self-suicide. Seems pretty logical, common sense. But a lot of that is out the window these days. We don't see too much of that. Logic and common sense. It's kind of arrogant to think that we know anything. But once we experience something many times over, and we get the experience from those repetitive journeys of experience, we start to see things a little bit differently, feel things a little bit differently, and get a sense of what's going on. Do we really understand it all? Heck no. Does it matter? No. As long as we are on track and trusting the chief upstairs, the divine creator, everything is okay. Once we put that trust in the divine creator and leave it in his hands, we will start to come into a new realization that we really know nothing. We really know nothing. Watching all those amazing transformations in all these past years was quite a revelation into the realm of perfect blueprint, which we all have access. When we do certain things, we can get in that space and access the information. And that information is available for no thing. You can't buy that information. It's available. The access is available for everyone who chooses to get into the state that allows one to access that info. Leave the fiction behind and go into the facts, go into the truth, the direction of truth from the little we know. If we can see things getting restored back to their blueprint design, even things that we were born with that were off, like crooked bone or something, you start seeing things straighten out. You got to start asking yourself, man, there must be a perfect blueprint of me somewhere, because I wasn't born with a straight, finger or straight leg or whatever. There must be a place with a perfect blueprint. Common sense, right? Too easy. Too easy. Much easier to go to your, white jackets and have them explain everything with a Luciferic tongue. We call it the Luciferic intellect. Blah, 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 blah. A language that only they understand. Because it ain't English. Just like legalese. It ain't English. They create their own language. And it's the language of fiction world. It's in the past or the future. It's not in the present. So it cannot deal with any facts. How can they deal with facts in the future and in the past? It's not possible. The only space we have is now. The only time we have is now. The only place we have is now. So if we can't deal with now, it's fiction. So if somebody's talking fiction with you, you got 6 months to live. Talking in the future. You got 6 months to live. So they're playing God, telling you that you got 6 months to live. So they're creating your future. What they're telling you, without telling you, exactly, is follow my advice and I'll give you 6 months to live. Max. Follow my advice. Why do they know that? Because they've done it so many hundreds and thousands of times that when you follow them, the majority of people last about that time with whatever condition they decide to stamp you with in their fiction world, the fiction disease. So they have to give you a fiction name, right? The fiction name can start with the C, D, and have the whole rest of the alphabet. They have many thousands of those fiction names, and they come up with new ones all the time. They come up with new fiction names all the time. The fiction names, I mean, the diseases do not exist in the now space. So if we can only be in the facts, time, space of now, and their world is past or future. Your parents had cancer, have cancer. So you will most likely get cancer. If you live in their world, guess what? You end up with a fiction fact, if there's such a thing. Meaning, you end up creating their written scripts of their future. So you can empty out your pocket of your money into theirs. So if we deal in the now space, always working in the now, the fiction world, you will see it for what it is, because it doesn't exist. But you can help create, depending on what you choose on a, we'll say day-to-day basis, but it's a now-to-now time basis, in the near now time space of the near future. Tomorrow never comes, because tomorrow is always today. My dad used to say that. Tomorrow never comes, because tomorrow is always today. How much more truth do you need? You can only have space of time now. Now is always a good time to fast, isn't it? Because this is the only time we have. I'm going to fast in a week. I'm going to fast in a month. I'm going to fast in 3 months. Well, I'm going to fast right now because I am fasting, and I'll continue to fast in the now space of times I choose. Fact or fiction, interesting times, interesting place, interesting people. We come across people from all over the planet, all different races, all different belief systems. But in all, we are all connected through that plasma love always flowing, we like to call it. That energy flow of love from the divine that continuously is creating and giving and creating. It doesn't stop. Can't stop. Because that love has to continue to flow, or it would cease to exist. So we mimic the principles of the divine so that we can, expand. And how do we do that? Well, as we procreate, as we do things and build things and without destruction, we continuously expand upon creation. We had a quiet night. Has anybody got any questions, or we will cut it short? We have wonderful times ahead of us. Let's embrace everything that comes our way and be ready and embrace anything and everything. Because everything that happens exactly the way it's supposed to happen, or wouldn't happen. All the pain, suffering, it's happened, so there must be something that we must learn from that, right? Oh, Angelica, hi. My dad passed away July 1 in 2019. Condolences. He bought into pharma diagnosis. He was told if he does nothing, he had 6 months to live. If he did chemo, he had 2 to 3 years. So was their diagnosis close? I was not able to convince him to go the natural route. Yeah, I'm not able to convince most people, like, with my mother. I came back from Italy to take care of her. There's no way she would listen. No way. So guess what? We just had to support her best we could and watch her degrade. Slowly introducing, some fruits and stuff, a little more, some more herbs. But she still wanted to do what she wanted to do, and eventually the body started shutting down. You can't convince people. There has to be a spark of light from within that gives you that strong will to live and the resilience to continue because you love life. And if we look at reasons why people get sick, we have to look at the relationships. Number one, emotions and relationships. They go hand in hand. There's always something in there. I had a friend who passed away, and when was that? Last year. And he reached out when it was way on the door, one door on the other side, and one door here, but he it was already, his soul was already ready to go. You know, I found out, you know, the relationship with the partner wasn't good for many years, and you know, so he decided to let it go. Good escape route. I'm sick. Not much time left. Nothing I can do. Goodbye. And we see that over and over and over and over again. You missed the part about diagnosis. What I mean is, they said he had 6 months to live. How much time did he live from the time they told him that? That's what I'm trying to say. Was it around 6 months from the time they told him, you know, how long he had to live? Were they correct? It's usually when you follow their advice, they're very close. Plus or minus a few months. You know, sometimes somebody with a very strong will, determination, even though they're following all that butchery and poison, because they so strong believe it, that it's helping them, they're able to get through it. And that's why you see very small percentage of people going through that. They said 6 months he did nothing, basically scared them into doing chemo. Okay, but how long did he live with the chemo, is what I'm trying to say. All the people who choose to do nothing, they outlive the predictions that the White Jackets give the people by far. They just decide, no, I'm going to go. When I go, they far outlive those predictions. The statistics are out there. And there's some people who just go all out and live up their life. And some of them get healed by just living in their life. Because I'm going to go. I've heard of stories where people ran out of money. Because they just went out, you know, doing whatever, partying or traveling or enjoying life, because they only had so much time to live according to the White Jackets. So he was told okay, 3 years. I missed that, sorry. He lived 3 years. Okay. Yeah, he'd probably still be here if he did no thing. You know, it's amazing. It's truly amazing that people can actually live through chemo. I think I remember you had some as well, Angelica. It's a horrific bombardment on the body, and side effects and what it does. It's just horrific. It's something that people have to be very, very, very careful if they had any chemo when they're fasting, because you got to remember what the body does with that stuff. It locks it up, and because it doesn't know what to do with it, it's an assault on the physicality. So the body has to do whatever it can to lock it up wherever it can, so it can continue to live with the body. Right? That's the way it functions. Anything that we take on, the body has to work with it and do whatever it can. And when we fast, It's the only time that I know of that the body can purge foreign substances, foreign obstructions, chemical based especially, or radiation, all that kind of stuff. These all get locked up, get into a fasting state, and then the body starts purging. And that's where the danger comes in, because these chemo stuff, depending on how much the body's had, once it starts being purged, if it doesn't come out fast enough, it starts burning tissue. And sometimes, not sometimes, a lot of times, the people pass away because as they're doing the treatments, it's burning tissue, because it's burning as soon as it goes in, and the body's incapable of locking it all up, so it's burning tissue. It kills you. So yeah. Everything you said about how they operate is what Dad went through. Yeah, absolutely. I fasted to release the chemo out of my body. Thank goodness you do not have the effects like some of the people had. I remember Marlon, he had to rush in for emergency surgery. He couldn't breathe. It was tremendous pain. And then the surgeon was honest with him, and they had to remove a portion of the lung. It was all burnt because they gave him way too much chemo. He survived. Remember, that was the one he did a 13-day dry fast in the hospital after the surgery. And they were giving him hell and threatened to sue him and all kinds of stuff. So 13-day he left. And then that kind of surgery, he refused everything after the surgery, after he woke up. No more medication, no nothing. He said when they pulled the tube out of him, it was excruciating pain, but he refused everything to minimize the bombardment after what he learned from MFS. So I don't know how many would be able to withstand that. I went to get a tooth filled though. What do you call it? The numbing out stuff, Novocaine or whatever they use. Yeah, no big deal. But people go through what he went through. My goodness gracious. Yeah, and you'd be surprised that as you continue to live a fasting lifestyle, you may get spurts of the past being released continuously for years, because just one fast, even a long fast, you're not going to get everything out. It doesn't happen. The body does not work that way, because there's layers and so on and so forth. And, the body can only do what it can do. So, yeah, I'm so glad your body was able to get rid of it for the most part. And not cause that burning, and or the other major side effect is massive tumor growths all over the body, which Marin had that as well. So grateful for MFS. We all are, Angelica. We all are. Because it brought us with tools to empower and take charge of our own health like never before. And with simple structured system, so many tools we have, so simple to do. Anybody can do it if they choose. It's just too easy, it's too simple for people. They need more complicated things. We want the more complicated version. Okay. Continue to eat, and you'll see complications, how they continue. But when you fast and continue to fast, you're going to see things that, my goodness gracious, that continuously be revealed to you and allow you to learn about yourself, about how your body functions, about how the emotions function, because that's the side, the emotions that controls this whole physicality, and is what manifested this physicality to where we are. How many stories do we have to hear? My God. I don't know how many times I heard, I can't give up that food. I know in the last 30 something years, because that's when I started changing my diet. I can't give up that food. And many of those people are not here anymore. Jumped the fence to the other side. I came close to jumping the fence a few times. And, you know, that place of the unknown, it's unknown because when we come into this realm, we are programmed to forget where we came from. So it's only unknown because of the shield that was put in, so we don't recall where we came from. We all came from there, so we must know something of it within our being. There must be that information. So the more we tap in within ourselves, the more we will know ourselves, and the more I believe we will be at peace with ourselves and with leaving the physical body, so we can let that fear go. So we all came from there. We must know. We must know. It's getting warm in here. Let me get some air. Whew. Nice and warm today. I just turned the air on. We don't use the air a lot, the air conditioning, because I'd rather be without it. But sometimes just to get the humidity out. This room is small, southern window. It gets quite warm. Yeah. Awesome to see you, Angelica. Very nice. It's awesome to see everybody joining in. I don't know if anybody else is around, but you know, we're not into arguments and debates. We have information that can help anyone. We know the information can help anyone because of how many people have been helped with this information. So if you want to use the information, we are here. If you don't want to use the information, that's okay. We understand. It's not for everybody. You know, what we found is the fasting lifestyle is for very few people. A very small percentage of people will actually use fasting as a lifestyle. It's just the way it is. You know, vegetarianism, you know, when I started was unheard of in this part of the world. People thought I came from another planet. You don't eat meat? What? And then veganism. Oh, you really are from another planet. No dairy? No, nothing from nothing that came with a face or from a face. And all these titles I've left them because we have a whole different understanding now. And the whole thing about sustenance and nutrition and calories, the fallacy of all this stuff. It's of the fiction world. Because in the fact world of fields, that stuff doesn't exist. There is no things consuming things. There's only energy exchange. The strong feed the weak. The strong nourish the weak. There's no feeding. It's nourishment of energies, so they balance out and everything moves on. So then you have the one that fed the weaker gets elevated and stronger, and then the one that was, you know, nourished and fed gets stronger, so it can turn around and start nourishing the other weaker ones. It's just a fascinating system that can never, ever, ever self-destruct. The only reasons we self-destruct is our ego of doing things that we believe are better than Creator. Anybody who wants you to believe that we are better than the Creator, I would just suggest don't even bother wasting your time speaking. Run the other way. Oh yeah, run the other way. So yeah, it's quite a ride, quite a journey. These last 32 plus years now. Yep, past 32 years. And almost we passed 7-year mark with this information, and we're almost at 7 years of this Facebook page. My goodness, it's been quite a ride. Amazing, beautiful, wonderful ride that we've been a part of, and so many others here have been here with us for so long. Many of you have been here since we started, since the beginning, way back in 2015, the last few months of 2015. I think it was just before I went to Italy. I went to Italy in September, so I think we opened the Facebook in August. So it'd be next month would be 7 years in Facebook, I believe. I'm pretty sure it was August. Could have been the end of July, but August for sure. I'm sure there's a way to check when the group started. I don't know where that would be, but somewhere. Anyway, it's just nice to see. Nice to see the journey. Doesn't have a start date. Gotta be somewhere. Anyway. Apparently at 9:40. Angelic, eating to me is the biggest lie ever. Ain't that the truth? Oh, you need to eat 3 meals a day so you can get your fats, your minerals, your vitamins, your amino acids. And my goodness gracious. How heavy is that information to me now? And you cannot convince people of anything else. You just can't. Because if people don't eat, they die. Right? They don't understand why. It's not because they didn't eat. Well, it's part of the reason. It's not because they're lacking something. We die because of what? We drown in our own filth. We dehydrate. And physicality stops to function because it's overwhelmed from shite. So communication of the fields is not happening. It ceases to exist. And the belief system, it's so strong that it creates our reality, and we die when we don't eat, right? There's a beautiful post I did, I think it was today. Let me quickly see if I can find it. It's very short, so I can read it, so I can get some more clarity maybe into a few things. Here it is. Okay, yeah, it's in the Facebook group. I posted it 7 hours ago. Of 2 birds lying on their backs dead, and I'll read the okay, so it's from Rizard Piotr. I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry. Posted it, sorry, it's not from him, it's from Janice Mirnick. I'm bad with my English, and these are not English. Yesterday, I witnessed something that took my breath away. Heard a noise outside the window of the house. When I looked out, the cedar mist had hit the window. Cedar mist, I think, is the type of bird. It hit the window and landed on the patio. It was clear that the bird that fell was dead. Her partner stood next to her, who after a while laid down next to her, touching her head, closed her eyes, and froze. Beautiful and sad moment witnessed. If anyone ever doubted that animals feel emotion and love, this moment was an absolute proof of both. Nature really has a lot to teach us. Wow. So the bird, one of the birds, flew into a window, died instantly. Partner of the bird went down, was in such distress, lay down beside the partner, and decided to leave the physicality with the partner. How is that possible? It is possible because this happens. It's not the first time I heard that story. I've heard people, it's very similar stories where one of the partner dies, and sometimes within minutes the other partner dies, or within an hour. I had a friend who I remember his mother died, I think, first, and then the father died. I think it was the week after. Just they had to bury both their parents within a couple of weeks. So what is time? It's another illusion, but it's these two birds were partners, and they did not want to be without each other. And even also, so they in this realm, so they went out to the other realm together. Such a beautiful, beautiful way. And then they tell us we need to eat. Wanting to eat and needing to eat is two different things. We fall into that trap, the addiction, the taste, and socializing, which really has a strong influence on us, especially us Italians. Everything revolves around food. Everything revolves around food. No matter what Italians do, there's food involved. And there's other cultures just like that, if not worse. There's quite a few cultures that everything revolves around food. Italians is really, really big. And also the Greeks and a lot of the European cultures, Arabics, same thing, all around from the food. Yeah, food, and more food. Jewish cultures as well. Some of the Jewish cultures, some friends I have. Food, and more food. And Italians really overdo it. You ever go to an Italian wedding? Yeah, you'll know what I'm talking about. How many courses are there? More, we're gonna eat again. Then we're gonna eat again and again. It's just like, is it possible we're gonna have to eat this much? And I used to eat everything. And then I started fasting, and I went to a few weddings when I fasted. I just fasted. It's I think it's harder for the other people to watch us fasting than it is for us to watch them eat. Because once you fasted for so many years, it becomes a regular day-to-day thing. You don't think about it much. There will be times where certain events in your life will change that. It's happened to me, and happens to others, but we embrace it, and we get through it and carry on, and life goes on. Continuously fasting and strengthen our whole mindset, and through the experiences, and we get stronger and resilient, more resilient. Just wonderful. Just wonderful. Dry fasting states are my favorite. It's just me, myself, and I, the divine. There's nothing else. Nothing else. Love Angelic, thank you for today's message. Signing off. Love you, brother, and my beautiful sister, Rana. Thank you so much, Angelica. Much love to you and your family. And have a great evening. And we'll see you again soon, I hope. Ciao. So glad, people who continue to take charge of their own health and embrace and keep going no matter what. Less is more lifestyle will give you true freedom. Discipline will give you true freedom. And worshiping the divine, the one and only, will give you the absolute true freedom. Thank you again. We will sign off unless anybody has any last questions. I'll give you a couple of minutes and then I will close the channel for tonight. Nobody has anything. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great evening, morning, and we will see you on the next live call. Wednesday, Facebook Live, afternoon 3:06. Last Friday we missed and we didn't have internet, and all is well. So, ciao.